Alright, so I'm going to go over all the larger knives I didn't talk about in the last video. And so just for those who are interested, first up is the Tora Kukri. It's the alloyed handled one. And the reason I went with Tora is there is Himalayan imports and there's Kukri House. But just from the information I was able to find, Tora tends to do their blades a little bit thinner. So I personally, that's what I was looking for, so that's why I went with this. It is actually, in my opinion, very nice. Next up this is a Warcraft Tanto, and it's from Cold Steel, CPM 3V. This I bought it used, and the handles were like this. They had these little cutouts for grip, I believe. And I gave it my own. I did the edge. I widened the secondary bevel and mirror polished it. So very nice. In these kind of blades, so if you do, I found out that if you do a little bit of a rougher edge, if you don't go too high on grit, the edge tends to last longer. But then you can't really get like a mirror finish and stuff, so I prefer to do it that way. This knife is actually a knife I made, and it's, so you can see I like doing this for some reason. I like leaving it rough and then polishing the edge. So this is a flat grind, and so this is my interpretation of a crisp knife, and it only has one side that's sharp, and I did that so I can have like the maximum cutting capacity. I talk about these knives. Some of these knives I talk about already, but it's good to have it's good to have a video where it has a lot of them all together. So cutting capacity was the idea behind this knife. So if you get to taper the edge from all the way from one side to the other, you're able to do it much thinner and still have it pretty strong. If I would have done double edged, I would have to start from the center, and I would only have like this much space to just taper it down to an edge, to an apex. The tip, I decided to leave it round. It is very sharp, but the reason I did that was because if I did it to a point, same thing, I wanted to cut as much as possible, but I wanted it still to be strong, so I left it wide just for it to have a little bit more material instead of it coming down to a more fragile tip, in my opinion. So, crisp knife, and this is CPM 3V. The handle is what is it called? Lignum vitae, and the pins are 316 brass. No, 316 bronze. So this one I left it rough, and I was gonna go back to it and then polish the edges, but I never got to it. I still haven't. So this one, my idea of the ultimate fighting knife, but there's a lot of improvements I can do, in which I will. I am going to go back to this design in the future. But it's that same idea as the Vaquero. You have a place to catch material. The back is actually sharp. It's actually pretty sharp. So for back cuts, you can actually hold it like this too, and it kind of works like a karambit. Like I said, it draws material here. This area is like a flat grind from here to here, all the way to this point. But this point is still very thin here, very thin edge. And then it gets really thick here, just to keep all that strength, in case you want to poke something. So that is it's like a Vaquero-style blade. And it has a brass handguard. CPM 3V once again. I send this out to Peter's Heat Treat, and they do cryo and everything. They keep it, the hardness is 60 to 61. So all the ones, well, not all the ones, but this one and that one are same hardness, same everything. And the reason I put this little end here is because if I would have continued, this little brass end, if I would have continued doing, this is Amboina, so stabilized Amboina wood. If I would have continued this Amboina wood all the way over here, even though it's strong, this is too thin in my opinion for it to just snap off. So I just decided to put brass, and The balance is like right here, right a little bit in front of the guard. And I kind of messed up on this one. You can actually see the little pins, but you can actually see a little bit of a gap on this one. All right. This is the last, well, yeah, the latest knife I've made. And this is Vanex. It's a lot thinner. It's a 0.098 thickness. The handguard's titanium. The handles are G10. The pins are titanium. It's a coffin handle. You can see that. And this one I have other videos on. I buried it for like a month and it came out fine. I actually did get it to rust, so same thing, Peter's heat treatment. The hardness is 60, Rockwell hardness. And I actually got this to rust because of something called galvanic corrosion. So the titanium actually caused the Vanex to rust. So yeah. But yeah, this one, the balance is what seems like perfect. And I mentioned this in the other video. And this is the Mark II. I have a video on this too, actually. It's very thick, very pokey. This is one of the older, it's like in the 80s, older versions. In my opinion, it does have, this is kind of like a pommel, I guess, but it's really, in my opinion, just, I mean, it's aluminum. You could use it as a pommel, but it's kind of soft. So, very nice, very pokey. I guess it could slash too, but not as good as these other knives. Get an old one if you can, rather than the newer ones. This, I mean, this is, I guess everybody knows kind of what this is. It's just it's an Espada XL. Yeah, pretty much 7.5 inch blade. Huge knife. It's actually well, slightly bigger than by like probably half an inch, slightly longer than the Kukri itself, which is nuts. Yeah, then of course it folds. And so, just to show you what I do like to do, here's another option. I mean, another example of what I like to do. So I like to keep it rough, and I've been staying away from that actually in the recent knives I made. And then polishing the edge. I don't know why, that just looks nice to me. If I can get it to show a little bit better. So, and this shape, so a knife I didn't show in the other ones. This shape, I haven't found another knife that has this shape to it until more recently. So very, very thick, 4 millimeters thick. It's almost 5 millimeters. And then comes down to a point, so it's like pretty reinforced. Same thing, lignum vitae wood, titanium pins, titanium handguard. But the only knife I've found that has that kind of shape, and I recently found this knife. It's this is a Spectre, with I don't know how do you say that. Let me see if I can show it to you. It's on the side. So Spectre, I don't know, knife, very nice design. As soon as I saw it, it was like, I thought it was beautiful. So USA. I didn't show this last time, but full tang. I guess they probably used like silver solder or something like that to put this guard in. Let me see. You can't really see if they did, but it kind of looks like they did. Because it's not, it's not here. It's the tang is exposed here in the back, but it does have a pommel to it. Very nice, super thick. Does taper down, but this is the only knife I've been able to find that kind of feels like this one. So very nice. So Spectre knife. Just in case, I thought it would be nice to just include this knife because it just looks. Recently got it and looks super nice. Okay, all right. For those who were curious, all right, bye.